We're back. We're back to normal tea time, so we're not live from Venice or anything. Hello, Mordante. Hello, everyone. Hello, Grammar. Hello, Pocus. This particular box of biscuits has been kindly brought by Edmund. Now, you have to know this thing. Edmund lives in Norway, right? So, what what would be the best way to go from Norway to Italy? Usually, you take a flight from Norway to Italy, right? That's kind of the obvious. No, Edmund is a different type of man. He wanted to make things extremely difficult, so he had to fly. He wanted to fly from Oslo to Denmark, where he got the biscuits. Then he flew to Germany, and then he flew to Italy. Not in Venice though. He flew to Milan because he really wants to take a train from Milan to Venice. So this makes it like what 40 hours travel for something that you could do in 3 hours. That is what Edmund does. He does the hardest possible difficulty and tries his best to make things as hard as possible. So this is exactly what we have him on Discord and on Twitch for, to face the impossible. So hello, Edmund. I hope you're alive. I hope you made it back to your house safely. Of course, the way back was easier because he had other perilous adventures. But we're here now talk about drinking our tea and talk about what tea time was. All right, so what I'm going to do today is I've got a number of questions for you to that you have posted on different social media channels. I'm going to try and answer all of these, and I've got a number of things to say. So we're going to focus very much on what happened at Home of Wargamers Live. But before we get to that, can you run the 2 minutes video that introduced our lineup? That's a good starting point. Go for it.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the comeback? You know we the ones that ready for whatever. We gon' have to show them some, man. Let me see them hands up all the way front back. You don't understand that I'm doing what you can't with no cap. This is the return of the one. You ain't see him coming, you just heard drums. They've been ready for the battle. Any person that comes got the weight of the world on them. Yeah, they too strong. And I might have been down, not out. Only one thing I gotta know now. So are you ready for the comeback? Are you ready for the comeback? You know we don't want that. Let me see them hands up all the way front back. Yeah, it's the comeback. Are you ready for the comeback? Now I see you with your bad self. If you're into taking L's, then I can't help. I'll be the self-made champ, look at my belt. I built this star from the ground up, it's all by myself, you know. This is the return of the one. You ain't see him coming, you just heard drums. They've been ready for the battle. Any person that comes got the weight of the world on them. Yeah, they're too strong. I might have been down, not out. It's on sight, you gon' figure that out. And I might have been down, not out. Only one thing I gotta know now. So are you ready for the comeback? Yeah. Are you ready for the? Are you ready for the comeback? You know we don't want that. Let me see them hands up all the way front back. Yeah, it's the comeback. Are you ready for the comeback?
Yes, for a list of people who were not drunk, we'll prepare that and post it on our social media channels. It's a list made of 0 names. So I don't know, what the final bill for drinks will be, but it didn't include me as part of the not drunk people, that's for sure. Hangovers, I don't know. I mean, maybe someone. I have seen people that weren't in their best shape, but I cannot say who exactly. So that's definitely something I'm not going to reveal, not here anyway. So I've seen a number of questions of. I think one of the things I've seen is that the horses were slightly disappointing. I know. We were trying to do something very difficult, I have to say. We had uploaded the last build that we're supposed to run the multiplayer match like 3 days before, and for some reason everything worked until 2 o'clock in the morning the night before. And we don't know what happened. Honestly, we didn't know what happened. But still, we managed to put together a nice show. I think the Stargate, Starship Troopers, and Master of Magic playthroughs were fantastic. I also think that the reveals of Field of Glory Kingdoms and Ancient Arenas Chariots were also very good. So, all in all, we put together a nice show, and I'm very happy about it. And what was the first person when you looked in the mirror? This one was the first. Oh my goodness! What a great T-shirt! Yes, this is one of my favorite ones. I actually put on this T-shirt when I feel like I need an extra boost. It's anything Star Wars makes me feel a bit happier and merrier. So I tend to try that on when I need the extra happiness. And so on questions, I've divided my folders here by title. But if you've got more questions as I speak, just fire over and we'll try and answer all them. All the questions. On Master of Magic, I want so we're gonna have a few minutes about that Master of Magic. So we have there were 2 or 3 questions that we've already asked or answered during the live stream, which were very much linked to the console version and if Master of Magic will land on consoles. And this kind of applies for all the games we're developing right now. So basically, what happens is that if a game has enough, it's kind of easier to control, and it's kind of designed from the ground up to play with a controller, then will definitely work on a console version at some point. Some of the games are proving to be very popular, and many of you out there ask for console versions, but these games are not usually made for console. So we have to sort of do extra work to make that happen. Extra work means we have to redo some UI, we have to redo some controls. There's a lot of work around that goes on behind the scenes. So we need to sort of first understand if there's enough demand for these. Master of Magic is a good example of that. Master of Magic is a very complex game. It's very deep. It's very hard to control without a mouse. So we'd have to rethink some of the systems to make it happen on consoles. And we'll see how much the game is successful and how much demand there will be for Master of Magic on console. I don't have a wizard hat, Kinky Koala, but I'm gonna tell you about something about wizards on Master of Magic. Basically, one of the things that was asked more was how much you can customize the wizards you choose on Master of Magic. And really what you can do is that basically you choose one of the wizards available, and then you can basically customize them with any spell books and traits you want to start from. So it's heavily customizable in the end. You can really create your own wizard with his own traits, and that makes it a lot of fun, to be honest. That's what makes every single game different, because if your starting points are different, as much as you progress in the game, you actually make a completely different game all the time. You're there once again about Combat Mission, Tom Highway. We'll try and have a word about Combat Mission later. Steam Deck compatibility, Grok Nerd, we're definitely on that. Some of our games already play pretty well on Steam Deck, and there will be more coming. It's we've got a Steam Deck we test all games on, and we then sort of suggest if that's a good system to play our games on. And thanks for following us, Phoenix Astral. Um, then Das on Mom, yeah, it looks amazing. I think that the guys at Muha Games have done so far a great work. We'll try and get you more involved in how the game develops. We're planning some cool activities. We're planning some focus groups and focus testing for some specific areas of the game, and we'll try and broadcast that as much as we can. Keep you in the loop for that. One of the other things we were asking was about the tactical battles. There's tactical battles in the game. You basically are able to either play them on your own or auto-resolve the battles. So we make this available so that one can only focus on the 4X part of the game and just make sure that all sort of like the strategic part, or focus on the battles as well. You're playing Shadow Empires on the Steam Deck shards, and how big is the font? That's one for you. Then on Mom, make sure you subscribe to the beta, because that's pretty much happening as we speak. So it's definitely something we need your input on. Will Master Magic's pan 2 new worlds like Kamigawa and Capenna? No. There were actually a lot of these questions. Master Magic and Magic the Gathering are completely different things. We are not linked to Magic the Gathering in any shape or form. Master of Magic is the original Master of Magic released in 1994, brought to modern standards. So there's no it's two distinct IPs. So we're not stepping in somebody else's toes. But a lot of people are asking about it, so it's definitely not a question that we won't answer at all. Mom is much older than MTG. I actually don't know about that, to be honest. I don't know when Magic the Gathering was released the first time. I don't know, but it's different games, of course, so that don't have much to do with it. Oh, Pocus. In fact, no. Magic the Gathering was released in 1992. It was the month of April. He will know that for sure. Talking about Pocus, we got a few questions for Field of Grey Kingdoms. Now, Field of Grey Kingdoms has been the single most requested games by our community by super far. And so we were super happy to announce it. We didn't want to announce it before, because the development process of a game like that is pretty long and extensive, and we wanted to sort of start showing something, not just say, hey, we're developing it, and just go disappearing for a long time. So we wanted to make sure that we had something to show before announcing. What we showed was screenshots, of course, so we had to limit what was available, but the screenshots we showed were actually from the game. So the map is almost final now, and the UI Ivan has been working on is pretty much 90% final. So whatever. Ian McNeil, 1993, 1994. You see, there was an interesting debate about when it was released, and we ended up knowing that Magic the Gathering was in fact released the year before Master of Magic. I don't know when I started playing Magic the Gathering, but I was young and I had more hair than this. Will there be multiplayer mode on Field of Grey Kingdoms? Yes, there will be multiplayer mode. We will have, of course, the game is WeGo, and we'll have up to 8 players playing the game simultaneously. How many campaigns will there be in the game? There will be 1 main campaign and 2 large scenarios. There will be there's information about the factions. Now, the game will ship with 12 nations, which are with each one with very specific features. The 12 nations will be very different from one from the other. I had, because we've got focus on the chat, if you have any question on Field of Glory Kingdoms, ask now, because usually he works. Usually he works. Not really, but he pretends. He's got a game to deliver anyway. So there's a lot of specific traits for each nation group, and the guys are working so that every single nation plays very differently. One of the notes I had from Focus was basically, for instance, Fatimids, they really like to develop their cities, so you do play very vertically with them, by having more buildings per region, and growing cities more than growing empires and our kingdoms, and your territorial expanding in sort of in the territorial way. The other factions are play completely different. So it's the idea behind also the long process in development is that we really want every faction, every nation to play very, very differently. Does Field of Glory link to the tactical battles? Yes, link to the tactical battles will be the same as empires. So, see, Focus replied to that question as well. The game is still a little bit off, so we're not releasing the game in the next couple of months for sure. We are planning to go beta around autumn time. Right now, we're targeting September time. Make sure that you follow the site and the channels to get more updates on what we're going to have for Field of Glory Kingdoms in terms of involving the community and giving us feedback. Right now we're really still in full development. I wouldn't call that what we have in alpha yet, so there is time to get to that point. Can you tell something about Garrett Grigsby War in the East 2 New Steel Inferno expansion? Floor 1976, you know that we have an expansion in development, and this is already a big news. In fact, I don't think it was officially announced yet, so I guess that you know enough. We are developing a new DLC for War in the East 2, and I can't say more about the content and such, so it's all top secret for now. Okay. What's my personal Slitherine game? My personal favorite Slitherine game. My personal favorite Slitherine game is Battle Academy. It's the only game I can actually play properly. I had time to play it because back in the days we only had a few releases per year. Now we've got so much stuff happening, it's impossible to play all the game, to be honest. But yes, that would be Battle Academy. That's my favorite by far, and then probably Field of Glory, Ancients. That's my top two, and I don't want to say anything else because otherwise some developer can say, oh, why did you say you like my game? Because I don't have time to play. Yes, I am another Battle Academy fan. All right, on Stargate. Will there be a pre-order for Stargate Timekeepers? And what will be the price of the game? Right, so we don't know if there will be pre-orders, but we definitely know that we are going to make some kind of big event for July when there will be the 25th anniversary of the launch of Stargate SG-1. We don't know if that will include pre-orders or what it will be, but definitely it's going to be a big event. So stay tuned for that. We don't say anything about pricing of the games before they're released. In fact, on this specific one, we actually don't know what the price will be yet. But we could do these fun conversations we have internally about pricing live on Twitch maybe one day, where you all contribute to, what you think the price of the game could be. And then Ian can make the decision anyway. Are you planning to release a demo version? I don't think so. This is not planned. We don't want to sort of spoil the story by giving away stuff before release. And also, the way Stargate is developed is that basically every single scenario is very much a world of its own. So we did some balancing, characters and such. So giving away one scenario does a little in promoting the game, because it's a very structured game with very cool things happening along the way. It's not like, okay, I've learned the basics, I know this is a vertical slice of the game, everything else in the game will be kind of the same. So it would be a bit of a underwhelming, I would say, to release a demo for Stargate, and we're not planning that for the moment. When it will be released, we're thinking around Q3, but not sure about it. Q3 means probably end of Q3, so around September, but that's very much up in the air right now. Languages will be, what languages will be available. Now, this is a voiced game with characters, so we know that languages are important. We're still finalizing the list. I can imagine this will be English, French, German, Spanish, Chinese, Russian, and then probably adding more languages as we go, as we approach release. But there's no final list set yet. Pricing is partly dependent on how big the sales are. Kind of. I mean, it's pricing very much depends on a big number of factors, and I think that again you're right. It's part of forecasted sales are part of the pricing structure, but there's many people think that okay, if the game is cheaper, I will buy it. But then if the game is cheaper, sometimes it means that it's undervalued. So if you put a lower price tag, and people think it's just it's just a cheap production. So it's a balance work, really. Also, what we try to do with some games is really create a big install base of the main games, then upgrade with DLCs and such over time. We also want to give opportunity to do sales and promotions over time. So the base price of any game is really a work of a lot of thinking going around. It has hot seat and random map generator. I think all the maps are random on Master of Magic. Pretty much sure about that. If you could have the IP rights to one franchise to make a game, what would it be? Kinky Koala. This Star Wars, I guess. Star Wars is something that we always think would fit very well any sort of deep strategy or game or war game. But there's many. We all have ideas when we have creative meetings with the business development team and producers and marketing team. All sorts of ideas are float around, and we definitely have all our single passions, and every single game we're doing, Stargate, Starship Troopers, Terminator, Battlestar Galactica, the Warhammer games, come out of a passion of the team for that setting and trying to use that setting to make a great game. So I guess that we're working with what we want to be ported into a strategy game now, and we'll see what the future holds. What is the time schedule for Ancient Arenas? We have, right now we're thinking a summer release, but again, because this is a heavily multiplayer game, we'll look into that and make sure that we balance the game properly. Also, the management part is very much in progress right now. It's all coming together very fast, to be honest. Up until a month ago, the game was very much behind, and we're getting confident that the game is progressing well. So it's probably going to beta very soon. That's for sure. I am developing a Java ambush game. My goodness, that would be great. That's a good idea, actually. Any idea for release date of Pacific DLC? Pacific DLC will come in the summer for sure. We have first 1943 releasing very soon, and then we'll have a couple of months at least between that and the Pacific DLC. Chance of Stargate lands on consoles, pretty high right now because the game is easier to port to consoles, and we've got this thinking of doing it for consoles since before starting development. So it's much more. There's many more chances that that goes on consoles. And jumping in, into the next venture for Starship Troopers, much harder, of course, because it's an RTS, because of the type of game, because of the control system, because of all that's happening on screen. Very hard to sort of plan on a console controller, but we'll definitely think about that as well. Any of the original actors of the TV series do any of the voice acting? Not planned, because we don't have any of the original characters of the SG-1 show in the game right now. But we'll see in the future as well, because that's, of course, one thing that we're looking at, what happens next. We're telling a story, we're timekeepers, so it's less of a sandbox game or the type of usual type of game that we are used to do. It's a narrative-driven game with characters. There's a story unfolding. When you get to the end of the story, you want to know what's next. So it's very much like we treat all the 15 scenarios of Stargate as episodes of a TV show. So imagine that. Imagine that every single scenario represents a TV show episode that tells a story, and then you've got progression of that story with characters forming relationships, and that's how Stargate Timekeepers has been conceived. That we want to keep that idea for the future as well. Yeah, plenty of Pensacola for the summer, that's for sure. Starship Troopers on schedule, absolutely. Well, okay, wait, I won't lie. Starship Troopers has never been on schedule at all, but we're on schedule to release on June 16th, that's for sure. How long might Stargate gameplay be, as well as replayability? I think replayability is very much down to if you want to find other ways to complete a scenario. Most of the time, it's going to be that. Because once you complete the scenario, you know how the story will unfold. You know all the key points. Every scenario will have like surprise moments that you don't expect. So you want to see what's happening, and then when you get to the end of it, you either want to go back and play it again in a different style. You want it to be more, subtle and sneakier. You want to kill more enemies and so on. You want maybe to use a different approach to the scenario, but that's really where the replayability lies. Other than that, it's really about a game about a story being told. Starship Troopers hype, of course. We are super excited about Starship Troopers. It's coming on June 16th now. Guys, there has been an amazing amount of positive feedback on that. I have to thank you for the patience you're having on Starship Troopers. We know it's been announced a while ago. And we really wanted to take the time to make it the game we wanted, and it's not the type of game that we're used to do, so it's taking a long time to iterate and make sure that it is the game we want to play. Frantic, exciting, lots of stuff happening on screen, and optimized, all the kind of stuff that you expect. And so thanks for your patience. We really hope that when you get to play it on the 16th of June, you'll be happy, and you'll get back to it, because it's gonna be great. And pre-order it if you want, really. It's only 5 weeks away. Are you putting any stress to the development team here, Shards, or is it just a calendar reminder, just a gentle calendar reminder? We Starship Troopers have a map editor. Shards, is it going to be at release or after release? I don't remember. I think it was going to be after release, but I'm not sure. Is there going to be a Fog 2 medieval tournament for the new DLC? Yes, Pew Pew Pew, absolutely yes. Not at release, thanks Shards. It's going to be probably planned for after release. If you delay Starship Troopers again, we're going to demand a new Sky Marshal. Are you going to replace me as well? I got a job. I need to keep my job. Don't fire me, please. Did I miss any Panzer Corps updates? You did, but I'm gonna give them to you again. So Panzer Corps Axis Operation 1943 releasing in June and early June. I don't remember exactly the date, but again, Shards can answer the question because I don't have a release schedule on hand right now. I think it's either end of May or beginning of June. In 2 weeks, so it's end of May, and also for Pacific coming in this summer. So we'll have that coming as well. I'm well over time, so I'm going to go through very quickly some announcements. So sales, go on our site. There's a big sale going on with all the catalog being 30% off for until Monday, May 16th. You have there was a competition, screenshot competition. I will come back to that next week's tea time because don't have time to cover that, but we'll get to these screenshots next week. Also, schedule of the week for the streams. We have, gosh, this is a new format. I'm not very good at reading. We are Thursday. After this, we have Necrons with Sergeant Z-Dog, Battle Sector. Then we have at 6:30 p.m. we have Fog 2 Medieval, Rise of the Swiss with Richard York, and then Order of Battle with York Dog at 8 p.m. Tomorrow we have Valor in Victory Stalingrad with Hexaboo, and on Saturday at 8 p.m. we have Cushion playing Distant Worlds 2. Guys, it's been a pleasure trying to answer all your questions. I'll see you next week. And before I say goodbye, I want to thank everyone who attended the live event. I want to thank all the marketing guys and everyone in the production producers team who came over and made the event possible. And it's been super successful. We're very happy on how it went. So make sure you tune in next week for more question answers, and keep asking questions in the social media channels, because we try and pick all the questions you see here. I didn't have time to answer all the questions. I've got like 7 sheets of questions here, but we do try and pick the most relevant ones and give you the feedback you guys need. So I'll go back, eat more of Edmund's biscuits, and I will see you next week. Bye.